becomes this, DJ. What are the two most powerful words in the business language?
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
All right, well, that was a good one, right?
That was such a good one. That was such. I mean, because you wanted me to just start saying something. So, two most you said powerful, but also I think the two most forgotten words in today's just landscape of things: customer service, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, so here's the thing, right? Is as like in a business, but so I shouldn't say. I'll ask a question as opposed to make a statement. How's that? I'll do both. It's Monday. In my opinion, there's always been so much more focus put on sales than customer service, and from a compensation perspective, from a entitlement, I don't know if that's the right word, but from a freedom perspective, from all of this, right? Like customer service to me was never the first and foremost kind of thing to look at, right? It was always get the customer, like, first starting in my career was always, it was always, you get the customer, you say whatever you can say to get the customer. And then I would lose my marbles when my ops team couldn't keep the customer or fulfill the BS that I fed them. And that's just honesty. That's truth. That's transparency. Like as sales reps, and I think probably for the most part, when we get into the business, we tend to feed prospects a line of bull just to get an account, to put some numbers on the board, because there's so much pressure. Put numbers on the board, numbers on the board, numbers on the board. But how many of us stop through? I mean, when we're at the beginning, and you know what, maybe even not at the beginning, maybe a lot of people still even now, years into their career, never stop and say, how are we going to fulfill all this stuff that we're promising? That's customer service.
Yeah.
Right?
That's absolutely. Yeah.
And I think customer service goes beyond ops. It's accounting, it's invoicing, it's accounts receivable, accounts payable, it's insurances. It's like all the functions and that broader term of service, right? Like it's all the functions that keep it up. It's IT that makes sure the system's stay up, to make sure that you don't get targeted for piracy, and all of it, I think equates to customer service. And I know we're not going to today dive into all of it, but I know you are a major focus on customer service is one of you. It's the key thing you love talking about. So go for it, brother. Launch into your 12-minute rant, because I'm dying to hear it. And I still have to create a video for a rant, because I got to get the DJ rant going. You know what I'm saying?
We do need it, but yes. So obviously this is touching on Give Them the Pickle, which is again an episode we did a few weeks ago. But it's customer service, I think. So I've only been a part of the large corporations for a little bit of my time of working really in any job that I've had. Most of the time it was smaller businesses. Never really realized that until later on, obviously in life. The bigger companies, the Best Buys, the H.H. Greg's, that's where I worked in retail. And Best Buy probably. So to give you guys a flip side of how this really can be powerful, and how customer service, and just service at all, service to your salespeople, the way you treat them, even it's not even so Best Buy. I'll start there first. So this is the flip side of customer services, and this is just taking care of your salespeople, taking care of your reps, your agents, your whoever is working for you. Best Buy did a great job. I did not learn the magic word commission at Best Buy. Best Buy, I was selling like crazy. Had no clue that there was an extra bonus for selling. It was just they had these meetings every hour, and it was a rah. It's each department was a team, and who was selling the most PSPs, which was basically warranties. It's Best Buy's warranties. And man, people are going crazy selling these things, and I'm like, this is nuts. How? Like there, and then everybody's excited, but nobody's making any more money. And I'm thinking, okay, well, it's the acknowledgement. And Catherine said that when we had our meeting with her, or we had her on the show. Hi, Catherine, if you are watching. But she said, acknowledgement. There's two things that people are recognition, sex and recognition. Recognition. Best Buy did a great job of recognizing their people who, or their customers. Again, a customer is anybody who's going to help us serve uh, our customer better. And so customer service today is dead. I think it's dead. I think
I think a lot of companies have lost the focus on it.
they lost the value
And
of it. They
when we
lost the
say,
value of it completely. It's
yeah, I just don't think they're trained in the manner in which, and I hate to say old school because I don't think this is a generational thing. I just think it's
mhm.
transition in systems, right? Like if we look, good morning, Brian, by the way. Welcome,
Yes.
Brian.
Good
Good morning.
morning, Brian.
Um,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. But like here's the thing, right? When we were in school, we learned cursive writing. My kids were in school, they didn't learn cursive. They can't read cursive to the point where they can read regular printing, right? My wife, when like through some of her places she worked, she needed signatures from people. The younger kids were like, "What's a signature? What do you mean?" And they would just print instead of a signature. So I think it stems from that higher arching educational perspective because you have conversations with people, and I think everybody wants that value in everything they buy. I'll have conversations with my kids, and I mean, listen, my son's 22, my daughter's 20, but it's you have a conversation, and he says things like, yeah, but I called them. Should they not call me back? Like, why should I follow up with them? They're trying to sell me something. And I go,
Mhm.
you're absolutely right. Or they sell him something, and he's like, I have this issue with it, but I got to call 4 times in order to get it. And I think that all starts at the top, DJ. Like, I think that all starts at, you know,
Well,
well,
I,
I don't think customer service people at this day and age are actually bought into the mission, right?
mhm.
Like for us, anyways. And if we keep the focus
It's
on logistics,
yeah, but
your
it's
whole
because
team.
we lost the idea of it. We lost the idea of it a long time ago. I mean, if we just think about the bigger these companies get, it's not really the Amazons, the Googles, the large corporations of the world. The bigger they get, it's more about marketing and how much we're in people's face than how good we're treating them or how good we're taking care of them or those types of things. The old school mentality. I mean, just look at it for what it was. Really, really old pictures. If you look at old pictures, people are dressed up and just to go to the store because it was like this grand event. Uh, and now because everything's so easy, I think we just lost it there. We lost it a
But now,
long
do you think we lost it or corporately? Because I think there's two
time.
sides to this
Yes, yeah,
coin, right?
yeah.
If we
Well,
look at
okay. I say we because I think we lost I think we lost valuing it. As consumers, we don't value it. As consumers, most consumers, it is about price. Oh well,
Okay,
this is
we're gonna have to play in the sandbox here because I think as consumers, we value it when we're on the receiving end of customer service. But what is it when we're giving? Correct? Or
yeah. Well,
okay,
kind of,
okay,
kind of.
okay,
The same
all
people
right.
who on the consumer side who value the customer service also value giving it. So the people who don't recognize it on the consumer side are also the ones not giving it. You see what I'm saying? So
Okay,
they're
no,
just
I see what you're saying. So I'm gonna ask you another question because I think this is gonna lead into some pretty cool conversation.
oh yeah.
Is customer service a corporate or an individual thing?
So
That's kind of a loaded question, brother.
that is a
I know
loaded
it is.
question.
See,
That,
I believe
that's tough.
it's both. I
Yeah,
believe it's both.
it
And
is
the
both.
reason I say that is because you will call, you know, um, Amazon, for example, right? And I'll get one customer service agent. That's awesome. You'll call Wayfair. You'll get one customer service. Like in the
Yep.
summer, my wife and I bought a bunch of different stuff. And when we got it, it was like, nah, the color's not right because that's you don't go and touch and feel. It's like it looked good, but now you feel it. It's cheap, and
Yeah.
so it's like we were doing this. Get it here. No, it needs to go back, and then you're kind of mixing and all that. And
Yep.
we found that same company, like you know, and it was one person was like, astronomical. And I was like, wow, okay, this company has great customer service. And it just so happens it's usually the first person you get is that one that's really awesome. And you're like, man, this person has great
Yeah,
customer service.
yeah.
And then your second or third call, and like, I mean, there was one woman that my wife spoke to that literally hung up on her. And my wife's like, what the hell? Like, we're trying to exchange something, and the woman just, I guess she was having a bad day. I mean, everybody's entitled to a bad day, don't get me wrong. But,
Sure.
you look at, like, I guess they call it bedside manner in hospitals,
Mhm.
emergency rooms, like all of
They
these
have
different
customers,
things.
exactly. Yeah, even the professions like you're talking about. Yeah, those are
Mhm.
customers. I mean, without patients, a doctor is not a doctor. He can't work on anybody. So if he's
Oh
not
boy.
taking care of them, they're not going to come to
So
him, especially a
so
private
where
practice.
exactly. So where is let's talk about the nucleus, because I think if we build off the nucleus, we can expand out to the rest of it. Do you think the nucleus of customer service is a shared vision?
Yes, I do.
See, I believe
That's a
that too.
and that's a great way to put it because yeah, and I think it's easily broken down too. I mean, it's just I think it's what we're taught as kids. Whatever, whether it's religion or just being taught to do the right thing, treat other people how you want to be treated. Um,
Mm.
you got to. At
But do
one
you think
point,
it goes
at
beyond
one
that?
point you're a
Like,
customer, you know,
but
and
do you
they're
think it
not a
goes beyond
customer.
that though, DJ? Do you not think it goes beyond just treat people how you want to be treated? Like, I know from personal experience, when I would sit down with my operations team, just to bring it back to logistics, like forget
Yeah,
about all the other worlds out there. This is
yeah, yeah.
logistics, right?
This is logistics. Yeah,
So I've had numerous operational teams in my career. And when I remember the day vividly when I sat down with my team lead, I said, here is the mission for this year. Can you see it? And she was like, yeah, I see it. I go, here's why. Here's the breakdown. What do you see? Where do you want to be at the end of the year? Like both from a financial position, both from a personal development, from a professional development, and then I got everyone's input, and we as a team worked towards like quadrupling 10, almost probably no, even more than quadrupling. I'd say 15x our business. But there was no pulling your hair out and get like everybody was happy. And every decision here's for me, customer service comes down to this. If your entire team believes in the mission, every decision is made, every choice, like our my dear friend Rico Rakoski, and we're gonna bring him on. Just
yes,
two choices. That's
Rico.
gonna be he's gonna be awesome.
Oh
But
man, I can't wait.
like every choice we make is does this choice get us closer to this goal or further from? And I believe personally, the nucleus of customer service is that when the team's bought in, listen, this is the customer's mission. This is why I think it's imperative that as logistics sales reps, as professionals, we need to bring our ops team into the calls, onto the onboarding calls, because what is the mission for this customer? And if the mission is XYZ, then every decision we make as a logistics professional group, as the entire encompassing logo, whatever you want to say, the decision has to be towards that goal,
Yep.
or else we're being of disservice. We're not bringing value to the table that we should really bring to the table. And you go back to retail. I don't believe retail companies are delivering that buy-in, like getting that buy-in as much as they should. Do you know what I mean? Like I just I don't know. I mean, unless they're hiring the wrong people, and I don't know.
Well, I think and going into logistics too. I mean, forget the asset base because obviously that's a whole nother. But just let's go brokerage first. Brokerage, the CHs, the big guys of the world versus the small ones. Where when when it comes to like for like, we are very similar. So the only difference is the extras of the customer service that we can bring. What beyond? What more can we do? You know what I'm saying? Like again, our networks mix.
Well,
to be
yeah, I
to be
mean, hey,
fair.
to say that, you as a logistics company, we're all calling the same carriers. Everyone, unfortunately, as crappy as it is using the same load boards and all that, right? Like the reality is the reality. But it's like I was telling you offline. I remember one of my customers telling me, I've been down this path before. You come in, I'm your best friend. We get the business. I'm your best friend.
Yeah,
But eventually, you get another customer that's just as big or bigger than me, and all of a sudden you neglect me. And I remember vividly one of my prospects saying that, and I said, "Has that happened to you before?" He goes, "Every single time." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Okay, what do you think is like the reasoning for it?" He says, "Because we get complacent, meaning, oh well, I'm doing the business with them, they can't go anywhere else." He goes, "But that's when everything starts falling off." And one of my mentors, Brian Byro, said, you know, it's like a hot air balloon. And you blow up this hot air balloon and it is so vibrant and just colorful and beautiful, and it's in the blue sky. And you ever notice like hot air balloons, the colors contrast the blue sky perfectly? And he goes, but then you put a pinprick in it and nothing really happens. It's still bright and beautiful. And you put another one, then another one, another one, and eventually
mhm,
it deflates and it comes crashing down. But it's over time, right?
mhm.
And this to me, when he was saying it, became the life cycle of a customer. Do you know what I mean? And
Oh
even
yeah,
now, as I'm a couple of years out of corporate now, when I left corporate, customers called me and said, "I don't care where you are, I'm doing business with you because I do business with you, not a
yeah,
logo."
yeah,
And I've noticed that even customers I've had 18 or 20 years, when I don't make the phone calls twice a week to say, "Hey, what's going on? Just want to check in, see how you're doing." And I'm talking 18 years of service, just because I have a different business model now than I had before, right? I'm not necessarily in that corporate side of it. There's
yeah,
other things that I got going on. So I've noticed when I drop in phone calls, the business drops. And then I pick the phone calls back up, the business picks back up.
yeah.
Because I think in the end, it's that recognition. Hey, just call me and see how I'm doing.
Yes.
Especially over the last kind of 24 months, right? I think that, hey, how are you? Like, what's going on? What's happening? Like, what's been going on? How you doing physically, mentally? I think these are super important. I look at relationships I had back at the beginning of 2000 or the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and some of them I don't have anymore. But if you go back through and be honest with yourself, you realize that, like, I fell off or they fell off, so then I fell off because I wasn't, there wasn't that record, so it's kind of like, and it's not, to me it's not necessarily a bad thing because everybody's so busy. And well, I should rephrase it, sometimes it is a bad thing, but I mean, everybody's so busy that when you start to connect again, it's like time has never passed, right? Those
Yeah.
are real friends and stuff, like Rico. You reached out to me on the weekend, you said we got to have Rico back on. Like
Yeah.
Rico and I used to talk every single day for a good 2 years. He got busy, I got busy. We speak every month or every 2 months or something. It's like time has never passed. But I know his vision. I know his goals. He knows my vision. He knows my goals. I would never call him with an opportunity that didn't align with his goals, vice versa, right? So that nucleus of customer service, and not even customer service, just of service, of value, of next level ability to move, to make the choices, to get to where we want to go, is always there. And I think when we're value focused, and maybe it's, yeah, and maybe it's value focused or service focused, whatever you want to do. I mean, I don't want to sound like that whole value cliche thing, but you
But
know,
listen, I mean that is the truth though. In the end, the value is important, whether it's monetary value, what their value they put on it, personally, or just value at all of the experience of it. Because again, customer service is the experience
mm,
that we're giving them. But
I
some
love
good
that, DJ.
quotes that it takes months to find a customer, seconds to lose one. Vince Lombardi said that. That's the truth. That's the truth. Well,
But let's go back to that, because customer service is experience.
It's the experience. Absolutely.
Brother,
I think,
that forget that Lombardi quote. Not sorry,
no,
God forsake, don't forget Lombardi. But
no.
dude, you just said something that's 10 times more powerful than it takes months to get a customer and seconds to lose it. Like, really, honor yourself for a minute there.
Uh,
Like, you just like it's the experience. And
it
what
is the
does
experience.
everyone want? Everyone wants an experience. That's why we go to movies. That's why we love Hollywood. That's why we do everything. We want an experience. Why do you think
Mhm.
we go to hay rides and mazes and all? It's the experience, right?
But
We go
that's
to
that's the only
dinner
reason
at
we buy. That's the only reason we buy most things. Again,
yeah,
it is the experience of what we're going to get from it.
yeah.
Uh, that's yeah. No,
So
yeah.
you know what? Right there is the gold. You
Yeah.
just addressed the gold and didn't even know you said it. Customer service is the experience. So for every rep, morning Jeffrey,
Good
morning
morning,
Jeff,
Jeff.
every rep, every book of business, every customer, what is the experience they want to have?
Mm,
Like I think that is probably one of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself
yeah.
because
Yeah.
as humans, that experience keeps us
A-
right. That energy that we
Absolutely.
get, that like, wow, that was pretty cool. That was, like, dude, you
Keeps you
just
going back.
totally
Keeps you going back,
crushed
right?
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
keeps you going back. It's the experience we get at Cedar Point. So Cedar Point, I don't know if you've been there. If you're a big roller coaster person, you're gonna have to come down and go. Big
Oh,
thing
you
here.
mean the Cedar Point, like a Six Flags Cedar Point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the experience. Again, it's the experience. Why do people go to Disney all the time? Uh, Disneyland. I mean,
It's the
yearly.
experience.
The experience. They're going for the
Mhm.
experience. Sometimes it's
Dude,
the same thing
I
that's
gotta
right.
tell you a story. So we went to Disney when the kid, I mean, my son was probably 7, my daughter was 5. And we went to Disney and it was right around Halloween and it was right when like Pirates of the Caribbean was out and all that,
Oh
right?
man, yeah.
And I was running beside the float, Jack Sparrow, and I'm like holding a book. I'm like, my son's the biggest fan. You gotta sign this. And he goes like, and he points over there. He goes, I'll come see. And I'm like, no way. You gotta be freaking kidding me, right? So my son and I are waiting outside this building. It's like it's pretty much pitch black, with one of those like Hollywood style lights from the top shining down on this one area. And this guy comes out. Guy's doing this. He goes, hey, you guys here to see Jack? And I'm in my head, I'm going, this is sketchy as hell, right? He goes, come with me. And I got my 7-year-old with me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll come with you. My chest puffs out. I'm like, yeah, you
Oh
try to
yeah,
mess with me, I'm
yeah.
gonna fuck you up hard. You know what I mean? He brings us into this building. We're going through all these rooms or all these hallways, and we get into this room. And my wife and daughter are over at the parade, like my son and I are, and all of a sudden the door opens and it's Jack Sparrow, the guy playing Jack Sparrow, and he was like to the T played Jack
Oh,
Sparrow.
I love it.
That experience, like him talking and yeah, man, he's doing his Jack Sparrow, and he signs the book. Like my son's 22, he's still like, do you remember that? That like that experience
Experience.
actually
Yeah.
got us to go back to Disney 3 times because
See?
it was that experience where, hey, can we have it again? So you go to the nucleus, value customer service. This guy was playing his part. He's like, hey, you're a fan. I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna give you something that most people never get. And whether that individual knew it or not, made a massive impact on like our trip
Good
as a
job to whoever
family.
that Jack Sparrow was. Good
Yeah, like I
job.
mean,
Good
I mean,
job.
I mean,
That's how you
amazing.
do it.
But you're right. It's the experience that kept us coming. Like in all my years, you just made a million different things connect, brother. Like a million different things.
Here's another good quote I seen that really opened my eyes. The customer's perception is your reality. That was Kate
Mm,
Zabriskie. Uh, yeah,
that's very true because you hear a lot. The customer's perspective is their reality. It's got to be
yeah,
your reality, and if you want to serve them at the highest levels, right?
yeah, yeah. But yeah, experience.
Mm,
Yeah, experience. I mean, it's what sells hotels. It's what sells everything. I mean, and it's the difference of think about it. So Walt going to Disney is pretty freaking expensive, but people go there all the time. Sometimes people save their life savings to go there one time, but it's because of the experience. They don't care about price in those situations. You see what I'm saying? So like,
mhm.
you got to give them the experience. Give them the experience, and then the price means nothing. They're not shopping for
Mhm.
price anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I think that's probably one of the biggest transition points. Most people would, I know for me anyways, it totally changed my perspective, the lens that I see things through. And now I'm starting to think through how am I creating that like now my brain's really going. Yeah.
I love it.
Well, some people would say that's not a good thing, but so
Oh man.
okay, so how do we okay, so let's again create an experience for everybody watching and listening.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
do we create an experience so give us some suggestions on how you would create an experience for a customer in your business.
So another quote, and this will tie into that: treat the customer as if you are that customer. That, I mean, again, the experience is going to be, and this is where we're picking the right customer. When we talk about, not all money is good money, not all customers are for you. Listen, my customers, or the customers that really like the experience they get with me, might not be the same for other people's customers because it's a different experience. But for me, the big thing is really just showing them that I value them as a customer. I think that's the biggest thing. First off, you have to give them, not just tell them, but you got to show them. You say it all the time. I can't
What you
hear
do
you.
screams so
What you
loud, I
do,
can't hear a word
yeah,
you say.
yeah, same thing. I mean, and so what we're doing for them with the customer, just in the beginning, I, maybe that's why I smile all the time. I have no idea. But it's that experience of trying to make it, just make it what you would want. I mean, that's what I go in when I think of customers now. I think of, well, what did I like that somebody else did, and I try to do it. So, in logistics, we'll stay with logistics. The carriers that I have, man, and I'd love to give you guys all a shout out, but if I started a list, I'd keep going. So, you guys know who you are. But the ones that send like the updates right away, they're sending things, and you're just knowing it's not one of those. And for ops side of things, anybody who's handling ops, you guys do a great job. But it's staying on top of those things when you have notifications and you're not having to check and make a check call and see every single thing. Okay, what the heck is going on with this? I haven't heard from this person, because they're giving you that information without you having to dig for it. And that's something that I try to then pass on to my customers. So hold on, I don't want them wondering anything. So let me
Well,
make
you know
sure
what,
they know
DJ?
everything that's going on.
You bring up a really good point there. And on the flip side of it, so when I was with an asset-based company, okay,
Yeah,
we put in automatic notifications. Every single truck, you had to notify the customer
yeah,
before 9 a.m. Every single truck. Do you know why? And this actually brings up a very interesting point. We didn't want the calls because we had 4 ops people, 125 trucks to run. That's all the drivers calling in. Then you start adding 100
yeah,
and something customers calling or emailing, got way too overwhelming.
yeah, yeah,
So, and now that I go back and I'm thinking about it, because one of the mottos was customers' reality perception is our reality, was one of the
there it
mottos at
is.
this
Yeah,
company. And but the conversation when we decided as a company, hey guys, listen, we're getting inundated. Like 9 to 10 was the worst hour in that company. Like I would literally stay in my office because everybody got so pissy and did it.
mm,
But you know, we implemented that, not and I will rephrase this because I think everybody's lens changes with as we move forward. It wasn't a let's serve our customers, it's how do we eliminate the headaches that we deal with between 9 and 10, that in turn served our customers, because by 9 every customer had an email, here's where your truck is, here's the ATA, here's now what you were doing was fielding the, okay, well, why is it late?
what? Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and we would put a description in the email. This is why it's late. But sometimes it was just like the call would still come in. But
Of course.
our phone calls dropped by about 85%.
Mm,
And the purpose of it was the owner said, like, we can't have
Mhm.
this friction in ops, because ops is already like friction filled as well. Just things happening and
Yeah, so
the day
well,
to
yeah,
day.
they're
It's
yeah, they're
yeah.
the front line. In the end, they're the
Well,
front
but
line,
what
but
it was
yeah.
is they start turning on each other,
Yeah,
right? What we found is the and not egos, but the frustration would turn inward, right? Like I'm getting, somebody'd be on the phone and the phone would be ringing, but everybody be on the phone. You'd hear somebody cover the phone. Is somebody going to get that? And it's like, just but every day. And at a certain point, I think you take care of your team, your customers, your team. But it's amazing how, you're saying as a broker, as a logistics company, I too loved when we get updates, because I don't have to make any calls and you
yeah,
get me updates before X time. Like, that was part of the protocol when we would work with people, is we need an update. You need your ops team to give us those updates. It's amazing how on the flip side of it, they would rather do that than field 100 phone calls. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
absolutely. Yeah, hey, where's the truck at? Hey, where's so and so? Where's this? Where's that? You send that out, and it's a two-way. Obviously, yeah, in your situation, it is helping you. And I never even thought of it, I guess, that way to keep me from getting calls. It was more, I just loved it so much that when I would get it, then I'm like, well, shoot, if I love this, I know they're gonna love it. So
Yeah.
it was one of those things. And again, even now being on the total flip side, doing the whole flow resale thing, and waiting for shipments and using LTL companies and stuff like that, and be like, the hell is my stuff? Like, when is it going to get here? And not having an answer, like, then you're like, okay, now I get it. Okay, now, yeah, tell them. You need to tell them. You need to
Yep.
tell them what's going
Yep.
on. I mean, eh, yeah, yeah.
Jeffrey says, "What is customer X experience exactly? I think this is the question. I sent out quarterly questionnaires to find out what making." Yeah, well, and Jeff, you're absolutely right. One of the things that I would always do quarterly is I'd
Yeah,
ask three questions: What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What can we improve on? And
huge.
I wouldn't. I mean, if you like, I wouldn't send out a questionnaire because I found that most people wouldn't answer them. I'd just call customers up. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What can we improve on?
I,
I
I think,
and you
and not to bash with you, and not to cut you off, sorry, but um, I think even quarterly, I think you should do that monthly.
Yeah, well,
I do that.
every 30 to
Yeah,
60 days, I
yeah,
did it. I did it every
yeah,
30 days for high volume customers, because and the
yeah, yeah,
reason I did it was this, is the nucleus of, again, of everything I try to do, or I've tried to do for the last decade, is what is the major goal, right? If all of the decisions are based around the major goal, right? Cut expenses, streamline shipping, blah blah blah. If you ship 4, 5, 10, 15 orders a day or a week, sometimes those goals change every 30 days,
yeah,
right? Like, your goal in the summer might be to, make sure shelves are filled. Your goal come this season might be to double up on the shelves. So if I don't understand that,
yeah,
and I lose track of the mission of my clients, then I actually am making decisions that can kind of hurt them. And I'll give you a perfect sample of my business today. My mission is to help 10,000 sales reps generate over $1 million GP in under a year. Okay.
yes,
Right now, right now, a bigger mission than that is to keep the reps that are busy selling, because right now people get so busy and so caught up in the Christmas rush is that typically at this time of year sales drops by 60 to 80% in most sales reps. Okay, so what my mission now is knowing that, is to get a hold of my, and then that's why I bring in, like, sell to the CEO. Here's, sales sequencing, and these are all the conversations I start having at this time of year. What does 2022 look like? How are we building it?
yeah,
Don't have conversations with your customer. If you haven't closed them by now, you're not closing them. Don't waste time, but talk about 2022. And you have students that are closing deals at a rapid pace for 2022 that doesn't feel like it's selling. It's kind of like structuring more than selling. And they're getting massive results. But if I just kept talking about make 50 sales calls today, make 50, like, you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
not,
yeah, yeah,
we
yeah,
need, we, at different times of year, like summertime, right? the first thing I do for summer in prequel to summer is we start talking about, okay, typically less people to get a hold of. So how do you amplify the conversations when you do get a hold of somebody? Right? Summer vacation, all this kind of stuff. And I have a feeling next summer is going to be even bigger because for 2 years now, most people have not traveled, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
most people.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see next summer, I truly think you're going to see most people getting away and like disconnecting. So even if they're, doing a staycation at home, they're disconnecting. I truly believe that. I think it's the way it's going to turn. I think there's going to be more money spent on like travel and people getting away now next year than in the last kind of 3 years from obviously COVID and all that, right? But there's different conversations that you have at different times of year, and if we don't stay up to that, I believe we make decisions with the greatest intentions. Don't get me wrong, DJ. Like, as people that are here to serve, you know that as well as I do. You make great intentions. But if you looked, okay, so let's take Flores, for example, right? You're doing sales. If in midsummer or beginning of summer, you got a truckload of shovels in,
Yeah.
right? Winter shovels, it
Yeah.
might not serve your clientele as much as floaties for pools or gravity chairs or bonfire pits or like you got to
Exactly.
remember, right? So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
to understand your market, and in order to do that, you got to ask questions. Now, a little bit easier when it comes to seasons as opposed to questions, but what if your customers have a slow season? If you don't understand the goals for them in the slow season
Yep.
and you think it's the same goals in their busy season, like inadvertently you're making decisions that are kind of passing like two ships at night. To me
Exactly. Yeah.
anyways, like I
No, no, I
believe
agree.
that wholeheartedly.
Oh, I agree completely. I mean, this is Jay Bayer. Customer service is the new marketing. It's what differentiate one business from another. A great example of that. I mean, Chick-fil-A. Why do most people go to Chick-fil-A? It's like, and
Were you
so
just
you said,
reading was that a quote or were you reading a comment on?
oh, it was a quote. Sorry, sorry.
Oh, okay.
It's
I'm
a
sitting
quote.
there going, "Where's
You-
Jay Bear? I don't see his
where is
comments here. I
so,
see another one from
so,
Jeff actually. Jeff just did another. I know what the experience is, being that I sat in their seats for a few decades and understood
yeah.
what we were looking for and much more. Expand knowledge and suppress their fears. I like that. That's actually very well said, Jeff. Suppress their fears, right? I think
Yeah.
it's very important. Yeah.
Well, and again, yeah, remember what the fear is. Okay, is this guy charging me way more than anybody else? We have to uh,
Can we dive a bit deeper into that? Because I think that fear goes even deeper. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I think the
Is my
fear.
load even going to show up? No.
But yeah, I mean, so those are all circumstances that add to this fear. Am I going to look like an idiot?
Ah, yes, yes.
Right. And I
Yep.
think as
Yeah.
sales reps, every
That's most of
single order sub status, because again, if we look at the nucleus of every decision we make, I don't care what it is, I don't care what you're buying, subconsciously, it's all about status. Every decision, everything we do as humans is about status. There will not be a single person on this planet that will change my mind on that.
yeah,
Done
me
way
either.
too
I
much
agree
reading.
100%.
Yeah. And if I choose DJ as my logistics pro and shit doesn't show up, my status on how I make decisions, my ability to make the right decisions, my end goals, all of that gets tarnished. And it's like that prick in a hot air balloon.
Yeah,
And as
exactly.
you continue to make decisions that do not help myself, my company achieve their goals, right? It's like Catherine said on Friday. You look at what are the goals of the CEO, right? If you can address the goals, then you got a meeting. But it's all about the goals. However, if we flip that, okay, and just go back to the sales portion, how many sales reps focus on customer goals on a sales call or on a cold call, as opposed to I have to, and
Their
again,
sales goals.
subconsciously, I have to make sales calls to put business on the board, right? Like that's a very different perspective going into the call. And the reason I say that, and the reason I'm very confident about it is because I'm willing to bet 98% of the sales reps out there deal with customers that they don't like. Why? Why would you deal with anyone you don't like? Money, compensation of some kind, right? You deal with people you
No,
don't like because maybe they can connect you to the right
it's
people
not.
that you will like.
It's not
You deal
worth
with
it.
people you don't like. You deal with customers you don't like. You take the BS. You take the insults. You take the crap that comes with it. Because how many times you heard it? They sign our paychecks, right? Like, sorry, call a spade a spade. In life, we deal with people we don't like because of the outcome we feel we need.
Yep.
And I will say that if you're a struggling sales rep right now and you're serving, but you're getting no respect back, or you're having challenges, or it's constant, like a barrage of give me a cheaper price, give me this, give me that, give me that, and you're not being treated fairly, it's because you made the decision, you made the choice to work with that customer. Now you might say, nope, company needed me to put numbers on the board. No, sorry, you made that decision. My friends, 27 years in the industry, I made a lot of those decisions. Let me tell you.
I, I,
I know there was times the phone rings and I'm like, oh, I
dang
don't want to
it!
answer this
Not,
call.
not him again. No,
Yeah, and
no.
it could be because they're giving me freight. It's not necessarily that there's a
Yeah, yeah.
problem. It's just like you see the
But
name on the phone, you're like, oh, I do not want to talk to this person right now.
here's another good quote. Shep Hyken: "Make every interaction count, even the small ones. They're all relevant."
Mhm.
That's
But here's the thing.
again go into customer
if
service.
if you have a goal for every interaction, like think about it for a second, right? Just like the power that you hold, the power that you wield, right? If you have a goal for every interaction, like, and something simple, like before every call, DJ and I, for weeks now, we've been trying to put together a calendar, right? DJ, how long is it? Like
Oh
literally,
man, it's been
like we
it's been a few
have
weeks.
all of these topics that we've created, and I still have, probably it's going to fill all of these. So we have thousands, no, maybe not that, no, probably thousands or hundreds,
Yeah,
hundreds, multiple
hundreds for
hundreds,
sure.
500, 600 different topics that we can talk about. And we've tried, you know what? It's because it hasn't been a priority. But anyways,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
maybe that'll be another show, priorities. We've tried to get together and say, hey, why don't we put together a content calendar? But what we do remarkably well is the day or two before we talk about the topics that we're going to
yeah,
have that day, or at least we have a conversation before, because we say, okay, here's a topic for today, or here's a topic for Monday or on Friday or whatever. Here's the goal.
yeah.
So everything we talk about has that goal as the nucleus. Like that's the outcome, the goal. How do we talk about customer service to help people understand customer service is the key to keeping your clients? Like as a salesperson, sure, you bring clients in, you can bring clients in all day long, but you don't keep them. You could be best friends with the person that's in charge of the traffic. If your team, the
Yeah.
people who actually dig the trenches, keep screwing up, keep messing up, don't provide value, you will lose the
They're-
customer. I'm sorry. I don't care how much of a
Absolutely.
friend you are, you'll probably lose
Yeah.
a friend as well, because they have people that need to accomplish certain things. They have mandates, they have objectives. We all have these. I don't care if you're a business owner, what's your objective? To bring customers in, serve them, and grow your business. If you're a salesperson, it's bring customers in, serve them, and grow your business. If you're a operations person, it's book freight, grow your business, keep the customers happy. If you're accounting, it's getting the money in, getting money out, invoicing, duties, making sure everything's accurate to the customers. Like all of this. If you're a CEO, like it's to the shareholders. If you're public, if you're private, it's to making sure your team and you have the best culture in the world, or else it's going to be this roller coaster up and down of hiring, firing, hiring, losing people. Like you all have a mandate. There's always an objective, and if we run through a day blind, if our ops team runs through their days blind to the objectives, the mandates, the what the individual people want, as well as corporately. DJ, I just think we're missing so much and a bigger picture, and not just business. Like I'm I've been down that road. and the best I could do is, have you ever seen The Matrix
Oh, yeah.
when Neo's in the car and they just finished pulling this, this, you get the gun and he the freaking thing in his belly and all that. I forget what, right? And then he starts to stop the car and he gets out and he opens the door and they're staring down this alley and it's pouring rain. It's pitch black.
Yeah.
And Trinity says, "You've been down that road before, Neo. You know where it leads." Right? I remember Sam Crawley. Every day is Saturday. Sam Crawley. I mean, love it. Love the program. Every day is Saturday. He says he was waking up, driving to work in the dark, coming home in the dark, driving a car to impress people he didn't even like, going to a job he didn't like. And I'm driving to work in the dark. It's wintertime. And I think more along the lines, wintertime is kind of the time you start really thinking about this stuff because it's dark when you go to work. It's dark when you come home. The only time you see daylight is
So
through your office window,
it
right?
sucks.
And
I need
it's
sun.
huge, huge. So I start saying, okay, whoa, like I like what I do, but I don't love what I do, right? Why? I like the company. I don't
Because of who you
love,
choose to do it with.
but why? It was a paycheck. I
Yeah.
was doing
Yeah.
really well. I was making really good money. I thought I was serving at the highest levels,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
We get into these times, we get into these moments. And I think now more than ever, what I guess, a lot of people have said it, right? COVID really did show a lot of people what's really important in life, right? Like I got a buddy of mine, he was
Absolutely.
he was traveling 3 weeks a month. And I asked him, I said, how do you goes, "I can't believe how much I missed." He goes, like, you get so caught up in well, this customer wants to see me, this customer wants to see me, this customer wants to see me. And in the life, and like he's reinvigorated his relationship with his wife. Now they didn't necessarily have anything wrong. There was just this distance that they now have found,
Hmm.
right? With his kids, he's now found that distance. And it's not that don't get me wrong, like he's not a bad, like, he's one of the best dads on the planet, but his job just took him away for weeks on end. Like he would leave on Sunday night, come home Friday, leave on Sunday again, come home Friday. Like you know, so it's changed that. And when things started opening up, I said, "What are you going to do?" He goes, "Oh, I've already told him I don't want to. Like if it costs me my job, it costs me my job. I'll find another one.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to travel the way I traveled before." And I think it's super important that we, in anything we do, like if people are watching this that aren't necessarily in logistics, if this is your career, you gotta love it. Like,
Yes.
I think we're
You have
missing
to love what you do.
a
Look, if you don't love it, I mean, come on. We got one life. We all have the same amount of time in each day. It's just how we use it, or how we're
Mhm,
using it, or how we're sacrificing it. If we're
mhm,
sacrificing it with people we don't want to be around, well, then we're sacrificing the time. Make a change. Uh,
mhm.
it's how you respond to issues that come up. Can you put that back out there? What do you say?
Yeah, yeah. So Jeffrey's saying it's how you respond to issues that come up. Echo, as
Yeah.
you cannot control everything, there are exceptions, like act to God, to ensure your customers that, that you are in their corner. And I
Yeah.
think it's absolutely right. And
Absolutely.
again, what's a bigger way to show a customer you're in their corner? Every decision you make is geared towards the accomplishment of their goal.
Their
Right?
goal.
I've spent the last 3 days of the month in a warehouse helping my customer, like literally clamp 700-pound slabs, almost getting crushed, you know, loading trucks because the warehouse didn't have the ability to fulfill the customer's needs. So what did I do? Call this person, call that person. Let's go fulfill the customer needs. It
Yeah.
was just like this is, month end was the biggest time for some of my, obviously a lot of customers, but this customer in particular, it was like that's when 60% of the material went out. But it was like, okay, bang, and then you're sitting there going, okay, well, how do I get bills to them when I'm like in the where? So now I'm researching an app. So I find an app that turns pictures into PDFs, and then I can email them to them. And as trucks are being loaded, I'm emailing out these pictures. They
Nice.
come back to me, they're like, "Man, that was the best month end we've ever had." and of course, what's my first thought? Okay, it's not happening every month because it can't. Like I just can't because
Yeah,
for
yeah.
3 days I
Physically
was engulfed in the warehouse. I'm literally answering emails in between. Like I couldn't, like a half a day or whatever was no problem. But when you have to spend 3 days, that's a long time. That's a long time, right?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
I know we're way beyond time here, DJ. So why don't we wrap it up with a quote? If you got
Yes,
another one,
yes.
I don't know if you used
Uh,
them all today, but
oh
I
no,
think
no,
today is.
I saved the best for last, honestly. Um,
Yeah.
but so Maya Angelou,
Oh,
I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
oh yes.
Come on, that's it. Customer service, guys. Uh, just treat them how you want to be treated. Pretend like you're the customer at the end.
Way to end it, DJ. Remarkable, brother. You know what? And I think for all of you watching and listening, pay attention to DJ's quote earlier. Right? It's the experience. How can you create an experience for your customer?
Yeah, make that
Thanks, DJ.
experience, guys. Yeah, thanks,
Brother,
guys.
you were rocking, man. Gold star for DJ today.
Thank
Platinum,
you, thank you.
gold, platinum star
Oh
for my man
man,
DJ.
that was
Take care, everybody.